It's 2 a.m. and you're lying in bed, heart racing, mind fixated on someone you just met. Every text from them sends a jolt of excitement through your veins. You just can't stop thinking about them, their smile, their touch. You're experiencing the intoxicating rush of lust. We've all been there. Lust is that intense, almost primal attraction that can consume our thoughts and drive our actions in ways we might not fully understand. But what exactly is lust, and how does it differ from love or infatuation? Lust is primarily a physical and sexual attraction, driven by hormones and a desire for a physical connection. It's a powerful force, but it's often short-lived and doesn't necessarily involve emotional depth or long-term commitment. Love, on the other hand, is deeper and more complex, encompassing emotional intimacy, trust, and a desire for a lasting bond. Infatuation falls somewhere in between. It's a mix of lust and emotional attraction, often intense but fleeting. So why should we care about the difference? Because understanding how lust affects our thinking and decision-making can help us navigate our relationships and personal lives more effectively. The purpose of this video is to explore the psychological impact of lust on our thoughts and behaviors, helping you recognize its influence and make more informed choices. In the next sections, we'll delve into the nature of lust, its effects on decision-making, perception, and emotions, and finally, how to manage and understand these intense feelings. Let's dive in and demystify this powerful, often misunderstood emotion together. The nature of lust. Alright, let's talk about the nature of lust. To really understand what lust does to our thinking, we need to start with its origins and how it functions on a biological level. Lust is deeply rooted in our biology and evolution. It's a primal urge designed to ensure the survival of our species. From an evolutionary standpoint, lust drives us to seek out and reproduce with partners, thus passing on our genes. This isn't just some abstract concept, it's hardwired into us, influencing our thoughts and behaviors in profound ways. So, what's happening in our bodies when we experience lust? It all comes down to hormones. Testosterone and estrogen play pivotal roles in triggering those intense feelings of sexual desire. When we're attracted to someone, these hormones surge, creating that familiar rush of excitement and physical longing. Testosterone, often associated with men but present in women as well, increases libido and sexual drive. Estrogen, primarily linked with women, also enhances sexual desire and responsiveness. Together, these hormones create a powerful cocktail that fuels the fire of lust. Now, let's switch gears and look at this from a psychological perspective. How does lust differ from love or infatuation? Lust is primarily physical and sexual. It's about the immediate attraction and desire to connect on a physical level. It's intense but often short-lived, fading once the initial excitement wears off. Love, on the other hand, is more complex. It involves emotional intimacy, trust, and a long-term commitment to another person. Love grows and deepens over time, building on shared experiences and mutual respect. It's less about the immediate physical attraction and more about a lasting bond. Infatuation falls somewhere in between. It's a mix of lust and emotional attraction. Infatuation can feel incredibly intense and all-consuming, but it often lacks the depth and stability of true love. It's driven by an idealized view of the other person, which can sometimes lead to disappointment when reality sets in. Understanding these distinctions is crucial because it helps us navigate our relationships with more clarity. By recognizing the biological and psychological underpinnings of lust, we can better understand its impact on our thoughts and behaviors. And with this understanding, we can make more informed choices about our relationships and how we approach them. In the next section, we'll dive into how lust affects our decision-making. Spoiler alert, it can seriously mess with our judgment. Stay tuned. How lust affects decision-making. Alright, now that we've covered the nature of lust, let's talk about how it messes with our decision-making. Lust is a powerful force, and when we're in its grip, our judgment can get seriously clouded. First off, let's talk about impulse control. Lust can significantly impair our ability to think rationally and make sound decisions. When you're overwhelmed by intense sexual desire, the brain's reward system kicks into overdrive and you start prioritizing immediate gratification over long-term consequences. This can lead to impulsive decisions that you might later regret, like diving into a relationship too quickly or making risky sexual choices. This brings us to risk-taking. Under the influence of lust, people are more likely to engage in riskier behaviors. This is because the heightened state of arousal can dampen our fear response and make us more willing to take chances. Whether it's having unprotected sex, engaging in infidelity, or making bold moves without considering the fallout, lust can push us to take risks that we'd normally avoid. It's like we put on these rose-colored glasses that make everything seem like a great idea, even when it's not. Now, let's delve into cognitive biases. One of the most significant biases at play here is the halo effect. This is where our perception of one positive trait, in this case physical attractiveness, influences our overall impression of a person. When we're lusting after someone, their physical appeal can overshadow their flaws or red flags. We start to idealize them, attributing positive qualities they might not actually possess. This can lead to poor relationship choices because we're not seeing the person clearly. We're seeing an idealized version of them shaped by our desire. Another cognitive bias that comes into play is the confirmation bias. When we're under the sway of lust, we tend to seek out information that confirms our feelings and ignore anything that contradicts them. This can reinforce our attraction and make it harder to recognize when a relationship isn't healthy or when our actions are problematic. So, what's the takeaway here? Lust can significantly impact our ability to make rational decisions. It can lead to impulsive actions, increased risk-taking, and cognitive biases that skew our perception of reality. Being aware of these effects can help us navigate our desires more mindfully and make better choices. In the next section, we'll explore how lust affects our perception. Spoiler alert, it can seriously distort reality. Stay tuned. Lust and perception. Now that we've talked about how lust impacts our decision-making, let's dive into how it messes with our perception. When you're in the throes of lust, your mind can play some serious tricks on you. First up is idealization. Lust can lead us to idealize the object of our desire, seeing them as perfect or flawless. This happens because our brains are wired to focus on potential mates' positive traits, enhancing their appeal. We start to see the person through a lens of heightened attraction, attributing qualities and virtues that might not even be there. This idealization can be so strong that we overlook or rationalize their flaws, believing that they're the one despite clear red flags. Next is selective attention. When we're lusting after someone, we tend to focus exclusively on their positive attributes. This selective attention means we highlight and magnify their good qualities while conveniently ignoring any negative ones. It's like our brains are running a highlight reel of all the things that make them attractive, charming, and desirable, filtering out anything that might disrupt that perfect image. This can make us blind to incompatibilities or problematic behaviors that would otherwise be deal breakers. Finally, let's talk about the distortion of reality. Lust can significantly distort our reality, leading to unrealistic expectations. When you're overwhelmed by intense desire, your perception of the relationship and the other person becomes skewed. You might start to believe that everything is perfect and that the intensity of your feelings guarantees a successful and happy relationship. This can set you up for disappointment when the initial rush fades and you start to see the person and the relationship more clearly. This distortion isn't just about seeing the other person differently, it's also about how we view ourselves and our actions. Under the influence of lust, we might believe that our intense emotions are a sign of destiny or true love, pushing us to act in ways that are out of character or premature. This can lead to rushing into commitments, ignoring personal boundaries, or making sacrifices that aren't sustainable in the long run. So, what does all this mean? Lust has the power to seriously warp our perception, making us idealize our partner, focus only on their positive traits, and create unrealistic expectations. Being aware of these tendencies can help us step back, take a breath, and see things more clearly. In the next section, we'll talk about how lust affects our emotions and why it can be such an emotional roller coaster. Stay tuned. Emotional impact of lust. We've covered how lust affects our perception, but now let's talk about its emotional impact. Lust is a powerful emotion, and it can take us on quite a ride. First up is the temporary happiness that lust brings. When you're in the grip of intense desire, it can feel like pure bliss. The initial rush of excitement, the thrill of attraction, it's intoxicating. But here's the catch. This happiness is fleeting. It's like a sugar high, intense but short-lived. Once the novelty wears off, the excitement fades and you're left chasing that initial rush. This can lead to a cycle of constantly seeking new thrills, never quite satisfied with what you have. Then there's the anxiety and obsession that often come with lust. When you're intensely attracted to someone, it's easy to become preoccupied with thoughts of them. You might find yourself constantly checking your phone, overanalyzing every interaction, or feeling anxious when you don't hear from them. This kind of obsessive thinking can be exhausting and emotionally draining. It's like your mind is on a hamster wheel, constantly spinning with thoughts of the other person. This brings us to the emotional roller coaster that lust can create. Lust can take you to incredible highs, those moments of intense passion and connection where everything feels perfect. But it can also plunge you into deep lows when things don't go as planned. Maybe they don't text back right away, or they seem distant, and suddenly you're spiraling into doubt and insecurity. This constant fluctuation between euphoria and anxiety can be destabilizing, making it hard to maintain emotional balance. So, what's the takeaway here? Lust can create temporary happiness, but it's not sustainable. It can also lead to anxiety and obsessive thoughts, trapping you in a cycle of preoccupation and emotional volatility. Recognizing these patterns can help you navigate your feelings more effectively and avoid getting caught in the highs and lows of lust. In the next section, we'll explore the social implications of lust and how it can affect our relationships and interactions. Spoiler alert, it's not always pretty. Stay tuned. Social and interpersonal consequences. So we've talked about how lust can mess with your mind and emotions, but what about your relationships and social life? Lust isn't just a private experience, it can have significant social and interpersonal consequences. First, let's talk about relationship dynamics. When you're intensely attracted to someone, it can dramatically affect your existing relationships. If you're in a committed relationship, sudden feelings of lust for someone else can create tension, jealousy, and distrust. Even if you're single, new dynamics emerge as you navigate your attraction to someone new. You might prioritize this new person over friends and family, disrupting your usual social circles and routines. This can lead to feelings of neglect or resentment from those who feel sidelined. Next is social perception. When you're under the influence of lust, your behavior can change and not always for the better. You might come across as overly eager, distracted, or even inconsiderate as you focus on the object of your desire. Friends and colleagues might notice these changes and start to see you differently. They might perceive you as being self-absorbed or not present, which can affect your reputation and social standing. Finally, let's discuss the impact on communication. Lust can significantly alter how you communicate with others. You might find yourself using more flirtatious language, exaggerating your interest, or even manipulating conversations to steer them towards the person you're attracted to. This can lead to misunderstandings and mixed signals, especially if the other person isn't on the same page. Your intentions might be misunderstood, leading to awkward or uncomfortable situations. So, what does all this mean? Lust can profoundly impact your social and interpersonal life. It can disrupt existing relationships, change how others perceive you, and alter your communication patterns. Being aware of these consequences can help you manage your behavior more mindfully and maintain healthier interactions with those around you. Managing and understanding lust. We've covered a lot of ground on how lust affects our minds, emotions, and social lives. But now, let's talk about managing and understanding lust. Because let's be honest, it's a natural part of being human, and learning to handle it can make a huge difference in our lives. First up is self-awareness. One of the most important steps in managing lust is becoming aware of your feelings and triggers. Pay attention to when and why you feel intense desire. Is it triggered by certain situations, people, or stressors? By understanding your triggers, you can start to anticipate and manage your reactions better. Self-awareness helps you take a step back and evaluate your emotions more objectively, preventing them from overwhelming you. Next, let's talk about mindfulness practices. Mindfulness and meditation are powerful tools for managing intense feelings of lust. These practices help you stay grounded and present, allowing you to observe your thoughts and feelings without getting swept away by them. Simple techniques like deep breathing, body scans, or mindful waking can help you stay centered when lustful thoughts arise. By cultivating mindfulness, you learn to respond to your emotions with more clarity and calmness. Finally, healthy outlets for sexual energy are crucial. Lust is a natural and powerful force, and finding healthy ways to channel that energy is important. Exercise is a great outlet. It not only helps release pent-up energy, but also boosts your mood and overall well-being. Creative activities like writing, painting, or playing music can also be effective. These outlets allow you to express your energy in constructive ways, reducing the intensity of your lustful feelings. So there you have it. Managing lust starts with self-awareness, mindfulness practices, and finding healthy outlets for your energy. By incorporating these strategies into your life, you can handle lust more effectively and maintain a balanced, fulfilling life. Alright, we've explored a lot about lust, its nature, how it affects our thinking, emotions, and relationships, and how to manage it effectively. Let's wrap things up. To recap, lust is a powerful emotion with deep biological and psychological roots. It can lead to impulsive decisions, distort our perceptions, and create an emotional roller coaster. But by becoming self-aware, practicing mindfulness, and finding healthy outlets, we can manage lust and prevent it from taking over our lives. Remember, the key is balance. Lust isn't inherently bad. It's part of our human experience. But when it goes unchecked, it can cause problems. So, take a step back, observe your feelings, and make conscious choices about how you respond to them. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on navigating the complexities of life and relationships. And hey, let's make this a conversation. Have you experienced the effects of lust in your life? How did you handle it? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. Your experiences could help someone else. Also, if you want to dive deeper into understanding yourself and your emotions, check out my books and articles linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and remember, self-awareness and balance are the keys to a fulfilling life. See you in the next video.